Produce consumption has increased in the past 20 years. Nutrition education, produce marketing campaigns, year-round availability of a variety of fruits and vegetables, plus convenient, ready-to-eat packaged salad mixes have contributed to this trend. While most produce in the United States is wholesome, recently produce has been linked with foodborne illnesses from bacteria such as E. coli 0157H7, Shigella, and Salmonella. Pathogens or microbes that can make you sick are everywhere and can unknowingly be spread anytime from growing the crop through consumption. Although pathogens can be killed during the cooking process, most produce is eaten raw, and once pathogens get on produce, it is difficult to remove. Certain fruits and vegetables have skins or rinds that act as natural barriers to contamination, like bananas, cantaloupe, and potatoes. For leafy greens and berries with delicate, irregular surfaces, it is almost impossible to remove pathogens by rinsing once it is contaminated. Prevention is the key. As a grower or gardener, you are the first line of defense to keep produce safe. This video outlines potential risks and reasonable practices growers and gardeners can take to minimize the risk of microbial contamination of produce. Raw manure, mishandled compost, or animal feces can be linked to produce making people sick. E. coli 0157H7, Salmonella, and Campylobacter can be present in manure and remain in the soil for months, depending on environmental conditions. If you are using animal manure, cultivate the manure into the soil to reduce pathogen survival and potential problems with runoff. Do not harvest before 120 days. The longer the time from manure application to harvest, the better. This is not a concern if you will be growing non-edible plants. However, if you will be planting a root or leafy crop, consider growing it elsewhere or using another soil amendment. Using properly composted manure, green manure, or heat-treated manure as soil amendments reduces the risk of undesirable microbes. Growers can request microbial test results of commercial compost. If you are making your compost, follow recommended compost management practices. Keep animals out of the growing area. Feces from livestock, pets, or wild animals can contain pathogens. Farms next to livestock operations should have barriers to keep animals out of the growing area. Berms or trenches help prevent contamination from manure, chemicals, and other debris from floodwaters. Do not harvest crops that have been in contact with floodwaters. Water has many roles in growing food crops: irrigating, fertilizing, spraying, rinsing, and personal hygiene of workers. Know the quality of your water. Using unclean water increases the risk of workers, produce, and consumers being exposed to harmful microbes. Non-municipal water provided through a ditch, reservoir, or even a private well requires testing to monitor quality. Whether for domestic or agriculture use, if your water tests show contamination, have a plan to correct the situation. Irrigation methods like drip irrigation reduces contact with the crop and decreases the risk from poor quality water. Water comparable to municipal water, which is pathogen-free, should be used when water will be in direct contact with the edible parts of the plant. This includes overhead irrigation, spraying, or rinsing produce after harvest. Whether using organic or conventional growing methods, pest control will reduce the amount of damage to fruits and vegetables in your farm or garden. Produce damaged by insects, animals, or weather makes the plant more susceptible to pathogens getting into your produce. The undamaged surface of produce protects the plant from disease and microbes, just like our skin protects our body. When using baits, traps, or other crop protection solutions, use the product as described by the manufacturer. Keep in mind that more is not better. First, be sure what you are using is approved for use on the intended crop. Next, check the pre-harvest interval, allowing enough time between applying the pesticide and the time of harvest. Remember, when applying on the leafy or edible surface of produce, use pathogen-free water. In addition to water, any unclean surface or tool in contact with produce can be a source of pathogens. Clean and sanitize harvest bins, tools, or packing tables before each use. Follow manufacturer directions for use of sanitizing products. Make sure products are approved for food contact surfaces. Clean and sanitize harvest tools and containers before each use and store to prevent recontamination. Avoid reusing containers or packaging that may be contaminated, such as grocery bag and boxes used for raw meat, poultry, or seafood. Pesticide or chemical containers, or containers that may have been exposed to rodents, roaches, or other pests and animals. Often tractors, trucks, or vehicles serve multiple functions. Hauling manure and then using the truck to deliver your produce without washing and sanitizing the vehicle can contaminate your produce with pathogens and chemicals. Include cleaning and sanitizing as part of your harvest routine. Food workers are the most common source of foodborne illness. Soiled hands, gloves, clothing, and footwear can transfer pathogens from one place to another. Be sure to wash your hands before handling produce. Other important times to wash are after using the bathroom, before and after eating, drinking, or smoking, after cleaning and handling garbage, after handling fertilizers, pesticides, or other chemicals, after handling animals or animal waste, after touching your hair, mouth, or nose, after treating a cut or wound, or any time hands are soiled. Your hand washing station should have clean water, soap, single-use paper towels, and a trash can. To wash your hands, first wet your hands, add soap, scrub vigorously for 20 seconds, washing the front and back of hands, between the fingers, around the wrist, paying special attention to fingernails. Rinse thoroughly. Dry with a paper towel, then use the paper towel to turn off the faucet. Throw the used paper towel into the trash can. Drying hands on your clothes will recontaminate your hands. Remember, general hygiene also includes bathing, clean clothes, and hair restraints like a cap or hairnet. When harvesting, start with clean equipment, tools, and workers. Handle your produce with care to minimize bruising or damage that can allow pathogens to enter and increase deterioration. Use care when harvesting, sorting, washing, and storing to avoid unnecessary damage. While in the field or garden, remove excess soil and leaves in contact with the ground. Bruised produce or produce that touches the ground can pick up contaminants that can spread to other products if included in the same container. Keep harvested produce off the ground. To avoid cross-contamination, discard dropped or bruised produce. Rinse produce under running water to remove soil or debris. Depending on the produce, processing may include a second rinse and a dip into a food-approved sanitizer. Crops such as onions, potatoes, strawberries, or basil are damaged by water and should be rinsed just before eating or cooking. Do not use soap or other substances not approved for use on foods. Always check the product label. Store produce in a clean container. Certain items like leafy greens, green onion, and broccoli need to be refrigerated to retain the quality and safety of the product. Other items like sweet potato or round onions can be stored in a cool, dry place. There is no way to guarantee no pathogens will get onto the produce we grow and consume. However, using good agricultural practices in the home and garden can minimize many risks related to microbial contamination. Soil. Keep animals and raw manure away from the growing area. Water. Use potable water for spraying, rinsing, and hand washing. Pest management. Monitor and control pests by using physical barriers and products according to the label. Clean surfaces. Sanitize surfaces, equipment, tools, and harvest bins in contact with produce before each use. Worker hygiene. Wash hands before handling produce. For more information on good agricultural practices for your farm or in your garden, visit our website. Special thanks to the County of Maui Office of Economic Development for funding this project.